But is it true you don't even vote?
Yeah, no, I don't vote.
Well, how do you have any authority to talk about politics then?
Well, I don't get my authority from this pre-existing paradigm, which is quite narrow and only serves a few people. I look elsewhere for alternatives that might be of service to humanity. Alternate means alternate political systems.
They being?
Well, I've not invented it yet, Jeremy. I had to do a magazine last week. I've had a lot on my plate. But here's the thing it shouldn't do. Shouldn't destroy the planet. Shouldn't create massive economic disparity. Shouldn't ignore the needs of the people. The burden of proof is on the people with the power, not people like doing a magazine.
How do you imagine the people get power?
Well, I imagine there are sort of hierarchical systems that have been preserved through generations.
Get power by being voted in.
Well,
That's how they
Jeremy,
get it. You can't even be asked to vote.
It's quite a narrow prescriptive parameter that changes within the.
In a democracy, that's how it works.
Well, I don't think it's working very well, Jeremy. Given that the planet is being destroyed, given that there is economic disparity of a huge degree, what are you saying? There's no alternative. There's no alternative.
No, I'm not
just this
saying
system.
that. I'm saying if you can't be asked to vote, why should we be asked to listen to your political point of view?
You don't have to listen to my political point of view, but it's not that I'm not voting out of apathy. I'm not voting out of absolute indifference and weariness and exhaustion from the lies, treachery, deceit of the political class that has been going on for generations now, and which has now reached fever pitch where we have a disenfranchised, disillusioned, despondent underclass that are not being represented by that political system. So voting for it is tacit complicity with that system, and that's not something I'm offering up.
Well, why don't you change it then?
I'm trying to.
Well, why don't you start by voting?
I don't think it works. People have voted already, and that's what's created the current paradigm.
When did you last vote?
No.
You don't believe in democracy. You want a revolution, don't you?
The planet is being destroyed. We are creating an underclass. We are exploiting poor people all over the world, and the genuine, legitimate problems of the people are not being addressed by our political class.
All of those things may be true.
They are true.
But you took... I wouldn't argue with you about many. What's the scheme? You talk vaguely about revolution. What is it?
I think a socialist egalitarian system based on the massive redistribution of wealth, heavy taxation of corporations, and massive responsibility for energy companies and any company that's exploiting the environment. I think they should be. I think the very concept of profit should be hugely reduced. David Cameron says profit isn't a dirty word. I say profit is a filthy word, because wherever there is profit, there is also deficit. And this system currently doesn't address these ideas. And so why would anyone vote for it? Why would anyone be interested in it?
Not to vote?
Yeah, they shouldn't vote. They should. That's one thing they should do. Don't bother voting, because then when it reaches, there's a point. So these little valves, these sort of like little cosy little valves of recycling and Prius and turn up somewhere. It stops us reaching the point where we think, oh, this is enough now. Stop voting. Stop pretending. Wake up. Be in reality now. Time. For me, what that interview meant is that Ed Miliband understands that people are pissed off. People have had enough of their needs being neglected because of the requirements of big business. What I've learned over this period of time where I've been talking about politics and getting involved since that Paxman interview, since my book, is that we are in a dangerous position in this country. The Conservative Party are planning to further dismantle our community assets, to tear apart the very fabric of our society. That's not something that we can allow to happen simply because people can't be bothered or don't want to vote. I know I've been Mr. Don't Vote, but actually what I mean is politics isn't something that we can just be involved in once every 5 years. Democracy is for every day, not just for elections. Democracy has to be something you're constantly involved in, whether you're students occupying your university, whether your community is coming together to reclaim your housing, whether you're people running worker-run cooperatives. We have to confront big business. We have to confront the people that are tearing apart London and socially cleansing it. What I heard Ed Miliband say is if we speak, he will listen. So on that basis, I think we've got no choice but to take decisive action to end the danger of the Conservative Party. David Cameron might think I'm a joke, but I don't think there's anything funny about what the Conservative Party have been doing to this country, and we have to stop them. So my view is this: if you're Scottish, you don't need an English person telling you what to do. You know what you're going to be doing. If you're in Brighton, I think it will be a travesty if we lost the voice of Caroline Lucas in Westminster. But anywhere else, you've got to vote Labour. You've got to get the Conservative Party out of government in this country so that we can begin community-led activism, so that we can be heard continually. So on housing, on poverty, inequality, on working, on all of these things for the most vulnerable, for the most powerful, so that we have a voice and that we can build a society. Of course, the election isn't going to change things overnight. It's going to be not enough of a change. There's loads of things I could complain about with Ed Miliband. There's loads of things, Trident, this, the mugs with immigrant. There's loads of things I could moan about. But what's important is this bloke will be in Parliament, and I think this bloke will listen to us. So on May the 7th, vote Labour. On May the 8th, more democracy, more power to more communities for all of us.